It's says we're live.
Yeah, lies.
Well, now we got to give everybody time to catch up with us.
By the way, I believe I have long pepper at the house for you.
Oh,
It
cool.
finally showed up. And apparently I only got a pound of it. I don't think I need a pound of long pepper.
I've done that before with bulk spices.
Did you have to start a new one?
Yep.
He
Yeah.
did have to start a new one.
Okay, I will tell him.
Okay.
So
And so I apparently got 16 ounces of long pepper. And a lot of long pepper.
there's probably a couple of people that would appreciate like an ounce or so.
Well, you're getting some long pepper.
Trying to remember who did I give a bunch of rose petals? Oh, I sent Autumn home to with a bunch of rose petals, dried rose petals, because I had bought this
C4?
big bulk.
Napalm.
Autumn thought they might be fun to play with, and I was like, "For you,
Rose
dear,
petals?
rose
Oh,
petals."
great in
Yeah.
tea. Great in tea.
Yeah, no, I was telling her what I've done with them and put them in cakes and stuff.
I just sent her home with an axe handle myself. That shit ain't-
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing. We're live.
Yeah, we're live. Nobody else is here, but we are.
I just told him, hang in there.
Yeah, we're hanging. Yes.
Let them get moved. They're working on it.
Now, bulk spices are fun because, I mean, 8 ounces of rose petals is a lot.
It's a lot of rose petals.
1 pound of long pepper is probably slightly less bulk.
Yeah, I thought it was like 1.6 ounces. Apparently,
Oh my.
yeah.
1.6 pounds?
I apparently got 16 ounces.
that's a lot.
Yeah, John. You're right. The New Zealand ship captain was incompetent and untrained. And she also did not listen to the chiefs.
Well,
Okay,
that
bring it
was her
surprise.
first problem. I mean,
Yeah.
She probably could have gotten away with being untrained if she'd listened to the chief.
Yeah.
Right. I feel
That's
many
kind of
officers,
their job,
many
right?
officers aren't untrained. All right. If you would like to put a new roof on things, donate here. In defense of global climate change, everybody's talking in Wichita about how we haven't seen hail like this in years. Yeah, golf ball sized hail in Wichita. They're fixing a whole lot of things over there right now.
Yeah, one of the big local nurseries. It went right through their polycarbonate.
Oh yeah,
roof.
Smiths.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, Smith's is thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in losses.
yeah.
One
Well-
entire greenhouse gone, everything in the greenhouse gone.
if you would like to smart ass t-shirts, yada yada, among the leaves tees. Friend of ours, let us know you heard about from us. And last but not least, King Harv's Imperial Coffees for the discerning coffee drinker. www.kingharv.com. Be sure you let them know you heard about it from us when you buy your Blanket Fort blend.
The Blanket Fort blend is nice. I just got in our periodical order, and because you've been raving about the coffees, the African coffees, I got. Oh gosh, what did I get? I got like 2 Africa coffees. I want to say one was Kenya,
Kenyans are good coffee.
and can't remember what the other one is off the top of my head.
Probably
The
Ethiopian.
free, yeah, it was Ethiopian, and then the free half pound that they put in for me was Cameroon.
Yes.
So that'll be nice to try all those out.
Yeah.
And of course, you buy 3 pounds and you get a half pound free. So the 3rd pound bag was Blanket Fort because I just like the blend.
Blanket Fort's a really good all-around blend. I've got
Mhm.
some Ethiopian Ergachif that that's my daily drinker, and the one that really goes, I don't like coffee, but that smells good. I don't know if Rita actually doesn't like coffee because all she drinks is Folgers Instant.
Oh,
Ew.
yeah.
Thank
Oh.
you.
It's desperation.
Folgers Instant is.
It's still better than Maxwell House.
I mean, it's not the Folgers drip; it's the
Yeah.
Folgers Instant. Yep, the crystals, the
Yeah.
sparkly crystals in it.
Yeah. When my sister and I got to Florida, or we were planning for the Florida trip, looking at what the amenities in the hotel room were. It's a little hotel resort thing right on the beach in Florida, and they don't have a continental breakfast.
Yeah.
They're kind of more like little efficiencies. They're meant for people to go there and stay for quite a while. So it had a little tiny coffee maker, and she said, "Okay, I'll pack some filters in my decaf." She can't drink straight calf coffee because you get heart palpitations. So I was like, I know what I'm going to do. Mark gave me all these instant Vietnamese packets to try, so I'll pack some of those along. They are potent.
Yes. Yeah. No
Could be
problem,
worse. Could
Raptor.
be coffee soluble in MREs.
Yeah.
Just a pinch between your cheek and gum.
I know a
You could do that
number
without
of
Vietnamese coffee, but you would see colors or hear colors.
I know a number of Marine snipers who that was their go-to was the instant coffee out of the MREs between the cheek and gums.
Done it more than once. Done it more than once.
But you had to get just the right amount because
Otherwise
if
your
you got
hands
too
would
much,
shake.
you started vibrating.
Does nothing for your accuracy.
No.
I will say that Black Rifle, I don't still do, made a damn fine the instant coffee sticks.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, Starbucks instant coffee sticks are not bad.
Which is interesting because their actual coffee is
terrible.
bad.
Well, I have the coffee they serve in their stores is terrible. The coffee they sell, some of it isn't bad. The Komodo Dragon from Starbucks is actually pretty good coffee.
Greg, really?
It's burnt.
Your daughter brought your grandmother leftover funeral flowers for her birthday?
Oh my gosh.
Damn.
I made an error when I was in the airport. Flew from Wichita Falls down to Dallas very early in the morning and was headed from point A to point B, which in DFW is quite some distance apart.
Yes.
And decided that I would grab coffee as I went.
Pack for the safari.
And there was a Panera there, and I got my coffee at the Panera, and no, I will never do that again. I will hook myself further down the terminal before I stop for coffee next time.
I am spoiled for coffee. If I have to buy coffee at like a Star Schmucks, or something like that, I'll just get mocha where the coffee syrup or the chocolate syrup overwhelms the terrible coffee.
Mhm.
I'd always recommend Navy coffee. Keeps you awake for
Yeah.
hours and hours and hours.
Well, that's what I did when we were headed out. My sister and I actually went into the airport at the same time because, in theory, had my flight not had endless delays, we were leaving within like a half an hour of each other. So we hit Dunkin' Donuts, and I got myself a pistachio coffee because I was curious, and also because I knew there would be enough syrup in there to overwhelm the flavor.
1,000% gas station coffee over Starbucks. Yes,
Oh yeah,
I agree.
There's-
A gas station coffee is frequently better
Yeah.
and certainly fresher than
if
some.
it's fresh,
Yeah.
truck stop coffee. Honest to God, if it's fresh, it's not bad.
Yeah,
There's a QT, Quick Trip
quick trip.
in Wichita that has these nifty machines when they're working that you make your selection and it grinds the beans and brews the coffee right there. And their Colombian is really nice.
Now, Greg,
Colombian coffee.
we never got coffee from the in-flight kitchen. We had our own coffee pots, and we carried our own coffee and made our own coffee on the airplane. And it was not Maxwell House.
Well, I came to the conclusion that, and I may have somewhere in the garage in its box, my travel coffee pot, because we used to take a coffee pot with us when we went to a con.
Oh, yeah.
Well, after the $4 a cup coffee at FinCon, I'm back at a coffee maker next year.
I don't like Starbucks. If I have to go to a coffee shop, there are some decent coffee shops.
Yeah.
Frank
No,
and
do
Jones,
not combine Red Bull and coffee. No,
that's got to be Liz.
it is.
There's a White Buffalo Coffee Company, and there's a local chain called Frank and Joe's.
Yeah.
And they do decent coffee. They really do.
Frank and Joe's line is usually longer than Starbucks, which I
No
find
kidding.
hilarious
No kidding.
because they're across the street from each other.
Yeah. The Duck here in downtown Wichita Falls
Oh, the
is
Duck's
really
good too.
nice.
Yeah.
And they have their whole roasting setup where you can kind of stand
Yeah.
there and look at it while you're getting your coffee. And it always smells amazing in there. So
And
it was
Hook and
like
Ladder.
going in.
Hook and Ladder
Yeah, I
does.
tried Hook and Ladder.
Yeah, they not only do they have their own coffees, they have their own wines, which is a one-stop shop for the,
Yes.
for the Laudon family.
Yes, RK, you were smart enough that you bring your own tea,
Yes, she
Mhm.
does.
and I do not think that's a bad thing.
Coffee before noon, tea after.
Oh, speaking of which, do we have the proper filters to do coffee for Fool's Gone?
We have
Yes.
some right
Okay.
here.
Because I
Proper filters.
don't think I'll ever forget the year that we were trying to
Socks.
improvise.
Hush.
Let's go buy some socks.
I don't think we used socks. I'm pretty sure it was paper towels and they
Nope.
didn't work well.
I was about to go buy some socks.
Better that than the ones you had in your drawer at home.
I've thrown, coffee in the sock.
It's like those little pods you get in the hotel room,
Yeah.
only bigger.
Boot socks, yes. Boot socks worked well.
I always wondered why there was a rolled up pair of socks in my Billy that I never used. Well, I would suds out my other ones, but there was one pair of socks right out of the package in my Billy that never, because socks are used for so many things.
Yes.
Irish judo. Mike's on here, right?
Yes. I've got to get the rant out that we started on the other one before, which may have been why it never loaded.
Well, I mean, we
Frank.
have started with some happy
Yeah.
stuff, so now we can go into a little.
Well,
bit
this
of
is
the
happy
angry.
stuff for me and for Rick and for New Road Warrior. Chatworth got relieved.
You need to tell people who that is.
Admiral Shoshana Chatworth, Vice Admiral, 3-star, was relieved
Was
by
she the one at
Trump.
NATO?
Yeah, NATO, yes,
Yeah, that one.
for a number of reasons. Not the least of which was refusing to put up CNC and SecDef's photos at NATO headquarters.
And if I'm hearing correctly, said all we have to do is wait them out for 4 years.
Yes.
Wow.
She
Article
has,
UC Article 88. Anybody?
she has apparently a history of this kind of crap. And when Rick was mentioning something, I have to remember, I crossed paths with her back in the
Of course he did.
around 2011,
Oh.
and had to go around her to get what I needed when she was HSC PAC.
It's in 1911.
No, but she had a rabbi somewhere. We think probably it was some of the female admirals, because she was political from the get-go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you reading off her educational background was
Yeah.
like, oh yes, we
You,
can see where this is going.
you can go look up her bio online, Shoshana Chatworth. Go look up her bio, and
Rabbi for the non-military folks and non-law enforcement is a higher ranking officer that guides your career. And
Yeah. single or
Like
multiples.
like a mentor, only more so.
Yeah.
only political.
Yeah, very political.
After you get done looking up ex-Admiral Chatworth's
Yeah.
bio, pop over to the Uniform Code of Military Justice and look up Article 88.
And 92.
Yeah.
And I think the other one we were looking at was what, 113, Rick?
88's the big one.
Yeah. Yes, she definitely had a patron. However, military, you call it a rabbi.
Rabbi. Law enforcement, too.
But she's gone. And
Not before time, apparently.
yeah, no great loss. Insubordination, contempt toward officials, and sedition. Yes.
Well, running or suck about the president is not cool. You can't do that. It's a court
Well,
martial offense.
When she was at the War
For
College,
officers.
head of the War College, she was all about DEI. And my
Of
shipmate
course.
Pete Garvin ended up relieving her. And it took him a year to unscrew what she had done. Yeah. So,
I'm guessing that loss of faith.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't occurring to this one.
yeah, Tom, the witch hunt is alive and well. And it is taking people down left and right. And we lost another cyber admiral. Gee, what a surprise.
What the heck is a cyber admiral?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
They are the ones that were saying that they should be given command authority even though they don't have a specialty, because cyber is its own specialty. So they should be line officers with line commands.
Why can't they have cyber commands?
Pencil neck geek in charge of a destroyer.
They can
Or a
have
cruiser
they
or
can
a
have
carrier.
video games that they're in charge of.
That's pretty much what they've got.
Right. So why
Oh.
Yeah. So they're
I'm the army, and that shows up my spine.
Yeah. so there was another one was relieved this last week.
Apparently, Hegseth is another one of Trump's guys that's actually making good on his promises.
Oh yeah.
I can only imagine the glee that man feels to be in the position that he's in.
Yeah, Greg, you're exactly right. Ho was fired because he refused to carry out a direct order to fire the employees involved in the classified sex chat rooms.
He what?
He refused to fire them.
Why was he fired? Why is he not court-martialed?
Well, he was fired.
No, why is he not court-martialed?
That's a good question. Yeah, Ted, that's exactly right. Put
Wow.
a sales manager in charge of operations.
Why? I'm sorry, but if he refused a direct order, he should not have been fired. He should have been frog marched down to the brig and court-martialed.
Yeah.
You can't. This tolerating certain behavior is going to bite us on the ass.
Yeah.
You cannot tolerate violations of direct orders. You can't.
Yeah. Yeah, Rick, one hopes the court martials are coming.
Yeah, I don't know how quickly those things go.
Oh, pretty quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Court martials go a lot faster than the civilian courts.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would imagine that there's
Yeah, it goes
less-
with a quickness.
Oh, bam, I started it on the earlier chat that didn't load, so all that went away. But
Kermit said E404 all the get shit done mafia.
Yeah.
I've been quoted on here before as saying that the major, the 04, is basically the E4 mafia with Snooty.
Yeah. that might be possible, Mike. We'll find out.
No, but for disobeying a direct order, for insubordination, that shouldn't be a pat on the wrist. That
Yeah.
should be, oh, look, big rocks, you will make into small rocks for the next 20 years. You cannot disobey a direct, you cannot get in the habit of tolerating disobedience of direct orders.
Yeah.
Because one of these days you're going to have to give a direct order that they're not going to like, but they're going to have to do. You don't have to like it, you just have to do it. And if you're in a habit of tolerating people saying, no, I'm not going to.
Yeah, Richard, that could be the other problem. Kentucky is raising some fine hemp. Yeah, Tom.
So, Tom, how was Texas?
I don't think he was real happy with the cost of San Antonio.
Oh, I'm sure. Because how was Texas? Stop making sense. Texas was beautiful. Yes. And we have a bourbon trail.
Yeah.
Just going to throw that out there. Bourbon trail.
Well, the other thing is there was a very, very good basketball game last night between Florida and Houston for the end of March Madness, the Final Four, the Final Two. And that game was a nail biter all the way through. Florida was at one point was down 12 points. They came back and won the game with 3.5 seconds left.
Nail biter.
Yeah, it was literally a nail biter. And Houston managed to throw up the shot at the buzzer, which did not go in. Otherwise, they'd have tied it.
Tom says the discussion of Texas bourbon created some tense moments over the weekend. I'm married to Kentucky Irish redhead, so I dropped the subject. Gently take ground an inch at a time. You'll be okay.
Nose under the tent or under other things, whatever.
Irish aged in bourbon.
Well, and I thought was interesting.
Hey, James.
Francis Turner did a long blog post talking about tariffs, and I always like to read his stuff because his very insightful, and he can explain things on a level I can understand. But he was talking, one of the things that he's kind of side trailed in was the impact of tariffs on wine, and how you don't have to get wine from Europe. There's just as good wines that come from Argentina or someplace that has a lower tariff. And basically he's talking about the economic pressure of if something gets expensive, your average everyday wine drinker will go drink a different kind of wine that's cheaper.
Yeah.
And then he got into the sake, and how he would love to see where he could start introducing American consumers into appreciating all the different kinds of sake.
No. I put that same class as tequila.
All the different kinds of lighter fluid.
Yeah.
I was amused. Well, he'll wax lyrical about the different ones, because he and his wife will go traveling and find these new sake bars.
Yeah.
There's also people that like, never mind, they pay $75 to get in Vegas.
Yeah. There are wineries in Deming, New Mexico. Yes, that's true.
There's a
There are
winery
wineries
2 miles
2 miles
us.
from here. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got really nice wine. They do a lovely blackberry wine.
Yeah.
That's not too sweet.
The Australian wines are excellent.
Australian port is great.
Well, and the
How
thing
long
is,
did that bottle last you?
3.2 seconds.
Yeah.
the thing is, there's wineries all over the United States.
Mhm.
I mean,
They're all over Texas.
I can remember being mildly surprised being up near Lake Erie, and there was miles and miles and miles of wineries there.
James,
Maybe a little cool for
No.
wine vines.
not soju.
No, evidently
No.
not.
Oh, soju.
No, just no.
Yes, I was part of aiding and abetting a prank involving soju at a con a while back.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, Greg, we have friends from Australia who've gotten us the good stuff a couple of times.
Ruby port. Woo!
Yeah.
Mm.
I do like a good port.
Fortified port, no less.
I do like a good port. This was a lovely little ruby port, and I cracked it for Rita one night. We just had a lovely something she'd made, and I cracked some port so that we could have a sip afterwards, and then the bottle went away.
Well, that the point is, though, with the whole thing on the tariffs, although it's kind of fun to watch.
I don't know, so I don't panic.
No, this was hilarious. On my X feed, there was an ad that floated by, and I saw it and started laughing. And it was an ad for like aluminum.
Yeah.
Basically, aluminum that's used in manufacturing.
Yeah.
And the ad was pointing out that Turkey, who evidently was the one that ran the ad, had lower tariffs than China, so you could get your aluminum cheaper from Turkey.
Well, considering China just went to 104% tariff today, yes.
That was dumb.
Well, no, it made me laugh
Yeah.
because it spelled out the amounts of it's like
Yeah.
10% to Turkey or 24% to China, and
Yeah.
I'm like, that was brilliant. Somebody
Oh.
it was on the ball.
Well,
Nick's barbecue on 40. Hey,
What?
Jesse.
oh, cool.
Yeah, Greg. Routinely retrieving airmen from the clink after soju. Yes, I can believe that.
Enlisted and junior officers, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, there are good wines to be had all over the world. And as far as I'm concerned, the French wines are not
yeah.
that great.
They're not bad. I honestly prefer Italian and Spanish wines.
I mean, the expense. I actually like Chianti. There's a Chianti Reserve that you can get here in the States occasionally. That's excellent.
And it's funny because I grew up in a family that really didn't drink.
Yeah.
And Dad would have the occasional beer.
Yeah.
And that was it. So wine was not something I encountered until I was an adult. And then not really that often. And so it's only been the last maybe decade that I've even attempted to explore different kinds of wines. And the only wines I've sought out and bought recently have been a couple of German whites that Sanford really likes because he had encountered those in Germany. And they're very nice. But generally, if I'm buying wine, more often than not, I'm buying wine to cook with.
Yeah.
So I'm buying not the cheapest stuff and
Yeah.
definitely not cooking wine because that stuff's nasty. But I'm buying like low end bottles of wine that are going to be cooked.
I get
until the
Jack Moore
alcohol's
asked a
gone.
good question. Why are the best German wines from Argentina? Shifting his eyes. It might be because some people migrated.
You see, there would too much. Let me sum up. Never mind. Rita and I will drink a lot of Tempraníos and Crayons Riojas.
Yeah.
Spanish and Argentinian wines, and it's a good mid-range. I don't like the tanny oaky
No, I don't like,
Cabernets.
right.
I don't want to varnish my tongue.
Yeah, I don't like. I've discovered the tannic reds are just nasty. I do not
I
like
don't.
those.
I don't like to
Now,
varnish my tongue.
Another good dessert wine coming out of Italy is called Orvieto. It's a white wine.
Hmm.
Very fruity and sweet.
I'm making notes over here.
Weirdly enough, comes from the region around Orvieto.
Yes.
So,
Mead, yeah, that's
Mead is a whole different thing. Mead I have actually encountered and messed around with a little bit because Dad was a beekeeper.
do not go near hillbillies.
Hillbillies, about
Yeah.
to say.
I have been near Hillbilly's Mead. It's very nice.
Yes.
I would not
Very
drink
nice.
much of it.
Nope.
It's just the whole next day is an issue.
And that sneaky little bastard.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a whole bunch of mead left over, and we said no. And so he found Rita in the hall, who had been there when we put the foot down, and said, "I would like to send some bottles." And Rita, being the sweetheart, said, "Sure." I get home, I look in the trunk. Where does mead come from, sweetheart? Hillbilly sent us to it. Oh, he did.
The
You
sweetest thing I've ever
bastard.
seen was him handing Faith Hunter, who's this
Oh, I
little
love
old
her.
grandmother
Yeah.
lady.
Teeny tiny.
I mean, he handed her like a quart jar of something.
Yeah, it's Anasai. He got her serious.
And we're all sitting outside, and somebody's got a blanket wrapped around her, and she's cuddling this thing in this big blanket and giggling, and it was the sweetest thing.
That's why we didn't see her the next day.
Yeah, bam. Marsala for chicken marsala. It's all right. I wouldn't be drinking it. I mean, obviously you do,
It's a
but
cooking wine. It
It's a
really
cooking
is.
wine, yeah.
And I prefer the dry.
Yeah.
Well, you absolutely must use the dry if you're going to make chicken
Yeah.
marsala. You don't want sweet chicken.
no.
Uh-uh.
But I can't help but think of Justin Wilson because he cooked a lot with wine down
Mhm.
at home, and they were pretty good wines. And he would drink about as much as went in the pot.
Some for the pot, some for the chef.
Yeah.
Some for the pot, some for the chef.
Well, it's funny
Screw the
because
pot, more for the chef.
it's funny because I'll cook with wine and
Yeah.
then I'll have to figure out what to do with the rest of the bottle because I don't do that,
Yeah.
which leads to some interesting experiments sometimes.
Oh, cherry wine.
Oh,
That reminds me of
That's
the plum
like a-
wine out of Korea.
Slivovitz, not plum wine, but it's in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes.
I tried plum wine once and I got it from Jungle Gyms based on the label was pretty.
Yeah.
And it was not good.
So
And I don't know if that's all plum wine or if it just was the one I managed to pick out because when you're looking at 6 to 10 different kinds, how do you pick one?
Slivovitz, we need to erase the last 72 hours.
Kermit says, sous vide cooking, soused vide chef. Yes.
Well, there's a question. If you sous vide something in alcohol, where does the alcohol
I
volatilize
don't-
off?
I don't know that you can, God's honest truth, because the boiling point of alcohol is lower than the interior safety temperature for most foods.
Yeah.
Right. Well, but if it's in a vacuum bag, where's it going?
Well, the alcohol would be in the tub, and the vacuum bag would go in the alcohol, and you heat the alcohol to cook what's
Oh
in the
no,
vacuum
no,
bag.
No,
I'm
no.
talking about marinating something
Oh,
in something alcoholic in the vacuum bag and then sous videing it. Because no,
No.
you wouldn't want
At
to
a
sous
certain
vide in an
temperature,
alcoholic
it's going
solution.
to denature.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I don't know what you wind up
The
with.
fancier the wine bottle, the worse the wine. Yeah.
There's some fun wine labels out
We
there. There's people
had
putting effort in
A
those.
contest one time over when we were in Spain. of how many people could find a wine bottle that had a cork in it and what was the cheapest one. And our flight engineer came back with a bottle of wine with a cork in it that he paid less than $1 for.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oof. That was a rough night.
There went second grade.
Oh.
Whew.
Yeah, pretty much, Raptor.
Whew.
Yeah, Rick, that would be interesting. You need to finish off the sous vide in the open air, and that would probably flash off the alcohol.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, though that's definitely what I could do. It depends on what the alcohol content is, because you can't flame off wines generally, except maybe
that's-
that $1 bottle he was just talking about.
Yeah. Sarah,
if you get the sludge to ignite, sure.
the resulting hangovers were quote unquote epic.
Oh.
And I'm glad we had another 24 hours where we had to go fly again.
Whew. So, some publishing news. The pre-orders for Storm Dragon.
Oh, here.
The pre-orders for Storm Dragon are going well, and because I have been answering this question all over the internet for the last 2 days, there will be a paperback
Yes.
version. We can't do pre-order on the paperback.
Because
However,
Amazon sucks.
It releases simultaneous with the ebook on April 11th. So if you don't want an ebook, or if you want to buy a paperback for a kiddo, it's coming. I promise.
Well, yes.
I was fixing to go there. So yes,
Yeah.
because I've been seeing the same thing.
Just because I keep having to answer that question
too.
over and
We are
over.
currently number one in his category. We kicked Hunger Games completely down to number 5.
Booyah!
And we also number 1 in new releases.
So yeah, no, the book is doing really well.
Yes.
Which I'm so excited for because it's a great book and Dave needs this.
He deserves
We
a
need to
win.
give Dave a
Dave
win.
needs a win.
So
And I need to upgrade the cheese on my staff sandwiches.
I mean, we gave them mayo at FinCon. So what's next?
Yeah,
Pickles?
right.
Yeah.
They would like bread because it's messy.
Wait, Chief
Yeah.
Sammy's does imply bread.
That's where we're at.
Nice.
Isn't that a pretty number?
Yes,
So
it is.
Yes. So
we're in triple digits on the pre-sales.
triple digits
Outstanding.
on pre-sales.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'd really like to see this one take off, mainly because Dave Fair needs a win.
Deserves a win.
Yeah.
Well, and so when I formatted the book, at the end of the book, I try to always do also by this author.
Yeah.
So it would be lovely to see people discovering Dave through this and then finding his other books too and pull his whole backlist along. And
He's
just-
written some good books.
He
He has.
really has.
Yeah.
He's a superb writer. I'm really excited that we got him. I mean, starting out novels with John Van Stry and children's books with Dave Freer has been extraordinary. So I'm very pleased that we've been able to get this done. And we have more coming.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's more.
There are more. 2026 is going to be an interesting year. I haven't even finished 2025 yet.
I was going to say, we've got a long ways to go in 2025, and there's going to be a lot of cool things going on this year still.
Yeah.
So
This one done.
Well, and if my story doesn't make it for the Detective Noir,
Which detective noir did you send that in for?
Vice?
not the Moggy one,
The Vice one.
Vice one?
Vice one.
The Vice one. Okay.
Yeah. That one will easily blow out to 20,000 words. 'Cause I had to cut 2,000 just to
I
get it to
remember
10,000.
You were
It got
being
away from him.
painfully chipping away at that. Yeah.
I hate having to do that, but
Well, sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
And then the thing is too, it's like the story that I had in the last library anthology in Cattleman.
Yeah.
I could easily take that to at least novella, if not short novel, and probably will when I get the when it's out of the exclusivity period. And it's like that's what I've been doing with short stories that come back to me out of anthologies is either expand them or throw them in a collection with a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
So
no, Raptor Vice Noir closed 2 days ago.
No,
Vice
no.
noir did?
No,
Maggie's closed.
Maggie Noir, the
Oh,
third
I-
Maggie Noir
Whew.
closed.
That's one of mine. I was about to panic.
I'm
Look
not
at
sure.
our Substack. We post every
Yeah,
Monday.
we
What's going
post all
on?
the opens and closes on Substack. Vice Noir is not there yet.
Okay.
I was
So
about to freak out.
Good. Maybe I can do some more editing.
You got time, Jim.
Huh?
You got time. You can do that.
yeah, I'm thinking we're in the open period for Goblin Souk, which is the one I'm editing. And I'm really hoping I get some nice Aladdin's Nights or Sherazade or
1001 Nights.
1001 Nights or Sinbad or
Sinbad.
some really fun, very Middle Eastern stuff.
We
would be
have a
awesome.
vote for you to finish a new groundskeeper story first.
Oh, that's in process.
Yeah.
I wrote a little bit of it while I was on vacation, and I will probably sit down this evening and bang out the
Yeah.
rest of a chapter to put up on my. So if you're a paid subscriber to my Substack, you're seeing it as I'm writing it. So that
I'm
is
going
not
back to working on my novel. So.
good.
Tiffany, what are you getting rejected for? I'm getting rejected again. Happy face. Happy face?
Smiling face.
Unless she's
makes-
being
she-
sent home,
she
because I
worried.
know that's what she
Okay.
wants to be is home.
Yeah.
So she's smiling. Maybe she's going home. Oh, Goblin Souk. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. I haven't read anything yet. But busy
She's
with
good.
other stuff.
Tiffany's going home tomorrow.
Oh, excellent.
Outstanding.
Yay.
Yay
Um,
for you, lady.
There will be an open call, and I'm breaking it to y'all first. Pecan is going to be doing an anthology, and they'll be putting out an open call for the Pecan anthology, which is going to have a funny thing happen to me on the way to the con theme to it.
Oh, God.
So yeah, because I'm doing the cover for that.
Who's editing?
Okay,
So Sandra Medlock.
real quick.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Hey Ian, did you know that 236 grams of caffeine makes any song sound amazing? One, it's not 236 grams because if it was, you'd be dead right now.
Yeah.
Liz. It might be milligrams, it ain't grams.
Yeah. Woof, 236 grams. Damn.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's far above the lethal dose. What is
Oh.
the lethal dose of
You're not
Caffeine.
not that. Yeah. Can't math, it's milligrams. Yes, it is. It's not grams. And if you really did drink Red Bull and Folgers, I'm turning off my messenger so you can stew because you knew better.
Yeah, it's the average mid shift. Yeah. Brown in motion. Yes.
If you really did do Folgers and Red Bull, you can stew in it because you know better.
the lethal dose of caffeine for most people, according to this article, is about 10 grams.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Rapid consumption of 1,200 milligrams of caffeine will lead to toxic effects like seizures.
Hmm.
You can safely
Huh.
consume about 400 milligrams per day. Anything over that, and you start to get into toxicity levels, makes you very sick.
Yep.
Oh, ma'am, you're doing stuffed squirrels and stuffed goats. We know somebody needs another squirrel.
Wait, maybe my mind's still on food, but what is she stuffing the squirrel with? And
Okay,
are we
thank
talking
you.
about roasted or
Thank you.
braised or
She's sewing them for
Oh,
okay?
the Ren Fair in West Virginia.
I had this mental image of one of those icing piping bags full of sage stuffing and a squirrel, really big eyes.
They're toys.
Oh, somebody might have been Marion, probably was Marion, shared in my Discord a software that will take a 3D model of something and create a plushy pattern
Yeah.
out of it.
Oh, good.
So you can take a
Oh,
3D
no.
model of anything
Oh,
and
no.
create a plushie from it.
Oh no!
Why does it not surprise me that Marion's the one doing that?
I don't know
No.
that she's doing anything with it. It was more like, oh, this is cool. Let me
Yeah.
share.
Oh, do not let the E4s get a hold of that.
I mean, if you have E4s that are really talented with both a blender and a sewing machine, yes, you could have trouble.
Yeah. giant squeeing robot plushies.
Thank you. We'll go with that.
Oh,
Thank you.
yes.
We'll go with that.
Ooh, we could do giant squeeing robot plushies.
Thank you. We could go with that.
Oh,
Uh,
Whew. Okay, so
it exists. It's out there.
Bam stuffed frog Frenches and bats, especially the pink ones. Oh, nice.
Pink frogs?
Pink bats.
Oh, pink bats. Oh, I know bats. I was thinking pink frogs. Those are the ones you don't want to lick.
Yeah.
no. I'd like to ask a favor. I really would. If y'all could link to, if everybody and talk to your buddies could link to the Substack article on Dave Freer's boys book, I'd appreciate it. Just when you get done here, pop over and restack it or link it or whatever. We did really well with John Van Stry's. I'd like to match that with David's. So
Well, and Dave's book is, because it's a book for boys, very much in the theme of the Heinlein juveniles, and it's boys doing boy things. Somebody was on a comment thread somewhere was talking about the fact that he had granddaughter. And I was thinking, if she's a little girl like I was a little girl, she will prefer Dave's book to the latest Hunger Games
Yeah.
book.
Andy the X, yes, it will be in paper, so you give your
Yes.
nephew a physical copy.
Yeah.
Yes.
James Copley. So again, Ian, are you mentally floofy? You're gonna have to ask Rita. Moving on.
He's had a haircut. He's less floofy than he was.
Yeah. And Dave also put up a guest post on
Sarah Hoyt's
Sarah
Sarah
Hoyt-
Hoyt, according to
Hoyt's-
Hoyt.
blog this morning.
Yes.
talking about some of his motivations behind writing it. He also wrote a blog post for it on Mad Genius Club that talks about some of the direct inspiration behind him writing this specific book.
Yeah.
So that's if you're interested in how a writer comes up with his ideas, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, look, idea.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yes.
And I do have to mention another book, Rob Hampson's latest.
Oh,
You were
yes.
just telling me about that.
Yeah, it's called Across an Ocean of Stars, and it is basically Rob wrote it, but it is not in his normal science fiction stuff. It is a
Black Tide Rising.
Black Tide Rising book.
John
Mhm.
Ringo's universe.
Yeah, and it has a number of familiar faces in it, at least to us. Excellent book, well done. And I sat down and read it about 48 hours,
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
which is longer than it normally takes me to read one. But I was occupied with other things like doctor's appointments and getting poked in the eye with a sharp stick, which makes it hard to read.
Yes. I have been reading comfort reads for me tend to be very old British mysteries.
Yeah.
And came across a couple recently that are available through Kindle Unlimited or fairly inexpensively on Amazon. And one's called Murder's a Swine by Knapp Lombard, which seems to be the only book that it was a husband and wife writing team. But if you like The Thin Man with Nick and Nora and
Yeah.
that kind of byplay and silliness, this is a book that's set in the very early, and I think it was published in 1943. So it's very early World War II, and early blackouts. And there's just, it's a murder mystery, but it's also, there are shenanigans and it's very silly. It was fun to read.
I shall shenanigan.
And I was disappointed to find out that there's only one book.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, I would have liked more. And then the other one that startled me, because I've been reading a lot of the British mysteries are very staid. There's not
Don't
really a
like
lot
that.
of. I mean, there's death in them, but there's not a lot of.
It's usually off screen.
Yeah, it tends to be off screen. There's not a lot of violence and on screen everything. Book called Death Has Deep Roots by Michael Gilbert.
Yeah.
That startled me because it's a cross between Dorothy Sayers and Alistair MacLean.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there's like guys running around the countryside getting into fights with gangs and kind of thing,
Yeah.
both in England and France. And it's an excellent story. I was very pleased with that one. And I'll probably do up a little book review on my Substack for those two
Yeah, my
because those were fun reads.
rereads are Lamour, Clark, Heinlein,
Mm-hmm.
John Maxim,
Yeah.
McDonald.
Well, my comfort reads tend to be a lot of the Brit mysteries, but Alistair MacLean is an
Yeah.
old friend of mine, and I will go to his books
Yeah.
sometimes. Certain ones, not all of them. I don't like all of his stuff, but certain of his are. I was telling Sanford a while back that I think I imprinted as a teenage girl on men like that.
Yeah.
That could be bad.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I did up a little meme for Rack Press,
Yeah.
and whether or not he'll actually post it, who knows? But it's two girls sitting there reading, and the caption I've put over their heads is, "If you want to learn what men want, read men's books."
Yeah.
And I mean, I grew up reading Dad's Clive Cusslers and Lamour, and I think, and I kind of imprinted on that kind of
Yeah.
manly figure in my life. I don't know how to explain that other than I was never interested in boys.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
competent men.
yeah, Arthur C. Clarke, E. Doc Smith,
Yes.
back in the early days,
Mm-hmm.
not that early. Thank you very much.
Reprints. We will
Yeah.
believe reprints.
But the Lensman series,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody complains.
Yeah, I don't know how well they'll be able to read it from there, but
Just leave it in one place, let the camera focus. It's trying.
yeah.
Anyway, Jack Higgins is another one. Yeah.
Yes. It was
John D. McDonald.
I just-
Travis McGee series.
Yes. Yeah, I just recently reread a Jack Higgins, or read one that I hadn't read before, and was surprised at how well it had held up. It was a fun read.
Yeah. But the other thing with the Lensman series was even 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
they were writing strong female characters.
Oh yes. Yeah, I found a lot of Wilma Deering
Yeah.
in the Buck Rogers book, or can't remember the actual title of it, but
Yeah.
it's the Buck Rogers book. She is quite, I mean, she's fighting right alongside
Yeah.
him and getting
Well-
herself into trouble.
And the same thing with John D. McDonald, Chucky McCall,
Mm-hmm.
the dancer.
Yeah.
She was a strong female character that went multiple books. You go back and read Spillane.
Oh yes.
Yeah. What?
Nothing. They're yelling at me for moving the phone.
You expect him to sit still?
Northwest
Sorry.
Smith. Yeah. C.L. Moore. That's one I hadn't thought about in years, but yes.
Oh yeah.
Alan Cole and Chris Bunch, the Sten series is my guilty read.
Yeah.
A familiar read, I won't say guilty, and I don't like to read it very often, is again, The Star Is My Destination. And I'm weird because I thought I liked Watership Down. That used to, for a long time, was a comfort. Sorry, comfort read for me was Watership Down.
I think everyone has different things that they go back to,
Yeah.
that they retreat to for. I know I've thought several times recently, reading through some old Agatha Christie's and other British stuff, that I'm reading about a completely lost place. It's
Mhm.
it's a place that no longer exists.
Yeah.
Because Britain of 70, 80 years ago doesn't exist
No.
and isn't going back to being like that ever. and it's almost like reading fantasy because it's stepping into another world.
Yeah.
Well, with the Sten series, it's comforting on multiple levels. One, is a history nerd, finding the history Easter eggs
Yeah.
are fantastic.
Yeah.
Second, is a general trivia nerd. I will find something. I've been reading that series for over a decade.
Yeah.
And every time I read it, I'll come up with something else I missed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The
Drake's Belisarius series is
never even started that.
Mhm.
oh gosh, I've had so much fun with that one, and it is
Yeah.
one that stands up well to rereading because it's Drake. You're gonna
Yeah.
find something you missed.
Well, the last time I read the Sten series, and bearing in mind I've read it once a year
Yeah,
since
for
it
years.
came out,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Okay. In Fleet of the Damned, Sten's basically running
Yes.
a space PT boat.
Yeah.
Flotilla. And one of his boat captains is an alien, spider-like alien, named Schalt. And I didn't realize until last time I read it that it was Charlotte from Charlotte's Web.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's like I was sitting there going, "But damned, what the hell?"
Speaking of things I used to read every year, once a year as routine, and I haven't done it now in quite a while, is I used to go through all the Lord of the Ring books.
Yeah.
Hobbit and the Lord of the Ring
Not the
trilogy.
Silmarillion. I can't read the Silmarillion.
I have read it, and if you're really immersed in the others, it's interesting, but it is very much like reading history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the dry kind of history. But I haven't done it in a few years, and I think it's because it's become popular again. So I kind of find it,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't like to do what the in crowd is doing.
And there was especially Return of the Emperor, Vortex. When those were coming out, I was in a interesting period of my life, and a lot of those felt very dead nuts on.
I can only reread Drake's Redliners.
Yeah.
I can only reread that once every so often. I have to let several years lapse in between rereads because that one gets me.
David Eddings is another one. The
Oh,
3 series that he did that were basically the same
4
stories.
series.
4?
He did 2 in the with
I don't think I've read
Belgariad
any of these, so the
and 2
Belgariad,
with
no.
Sparhawk.
Yeah.
They're 5-book series. There's 5 books in Belgariad, another 5 books in Belgariad.
Yeah.
Then there's 5 books in the Sparhawk series and another 5 book. And I much prefer the Sparhawk series. I love the Belgariad.
Okay, I was going to say, because I think I may have started reading the Belgariad and given up on it. It just
Yeah.
wasn't hitting me. But
The Sparhawk, what the hell's it called?
someone in the chat will tell you.
Yeah.
We
It's
rely
like the
on you,
Ruby
chat.
Knight, the Ruby Knight, and anyway,
Mhm.
it's I think you'd probably like that. It takes the sarcastic male part from the Belgariad and cranks it up to 11.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I would like that.
Sapphire Rose.
You know me.
Sapphire Rose, thank you.
Thank you, James.
And it cranks it up to 11.
Yeah.
And granted, I realized that the Eddington had problems,
Yeah.
had issues, but he wrote female heroes really well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Polgara from the Belgariad
Yes.
is a classic soft power female hero.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank
Sometimes.
you,
soft.
Ben. Trilogies. The knights sorceress that trained them in magic in
Yeah.
the Sparhawk series, very, very much soft power, but there.
Mhm.
The queen that Sparhawk marries, soft
Yeah.
power.
Yeah, though I didn't read a lot of the more female pointed fantasy.
Yeah.
With the exception of, and I had to have been like 10 the first one of these I read, Robin McKinley's books, because they're very much, I think all of her stuff is more feminine. But the
Elenium. The
The-
Sparhawk was Elenium.
Hero and the Crown and the Blue Sword, spoke to me as a young woman, because the young woman in those is struggling with she's a royal, and
Yeah.
she's supposed to be feminine and isn't. And so learning how to actually fight, that spoke to me as a young woman who was supposed to be feminine and definitely wasn't.
Yeah, Ted, have a good one. We'll see
Later,
you.
Ted. I like the women in the Millennium, the Sparhawk series.
They
People
were definitely strong women.
they
Mhm.
were, but they weren't the
The stereotypical
they
Amazonian
let
female.
the hairy chested knuckledrackers
Yeah.
do. There's one the sorceress that's teaching this one group of this one chapter of Knight's Magic. Something happened. She's very tiny. She's all this magic, and she says, "Boys, do something about him." And the knights, and they said, "That's her power."
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, what's his power? I have a whole bunch of.
Yeah. Yeah, the other
Those
one,
are fun.
Elizabeth Moon.
Sephrenia, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Elizabeth Moon, the Pax
Yeah,
books.
Paximarians.
Yes. Although I think I like her science fiction even better.
Yeah.
So
But she writes, and she's a former Marine.
it comes through in her books.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I like it.
Both the
I
military
didn't know
tactics,
that until later, and was
Yeah.
like, why do I like these books so much?
both the military tactics and the portrayals.
Mm-hmm.
And she writes strong women and
Oh,
strong
yes.
men. Both.
Yes.
Bam Boncher. Okay. Well, I'm assuming that what Rat Press wants for Bourbon and Lead, Inspector Poirot, Miss Marple, Columbo, Nero Wolf, or Spencer for hire.
No,
And actually, no.
no. Wait for the homework on that one.
There will be homework. We
Yeah.
promise. There's always
'Cause that's a
homework.
complete miss.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's not. No. Wait for the homework.
Yeah.
You're going to be thrilled. Everybody that was thrilled about the Vice Noir homework is going to love the Bourbon and Lead homework.
so Diamond Detectives was I kind of sparked that one because the detective novels of the American oeuvre are very different than the British
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
mysteries. That's why I always say when I say my comfort reads are British mysteries, I'm being specific there because Dorothy Sayers and Marjorie Allingham are, if I could write a fraction of well as either of them, those two ladies are just amazing, but totally different than
Mhm.
the American tradition for
Yeah.
British. So you can't, Miss Marple and Miss Silver and all of that, really, really not. There are some parallels in American mysteries. I'm trying to think, what's her name?
But it's much like,
Reinhardt's stuff has some parallel to that. But the American detective novel and the American detective story, which preface that within the pulps and the serials and the magazines, very gritty, very interesting characters. Yeah, wait for the homework on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bam Boncher, Columbo, Nero Wolf, and Spencer for hire. They were American, yes, but they're the British style.
Yes.
Not
Nero Wolf is deliberately, consciously in the British style. I'm not familiar with Spencer for Hire. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if I've ever read any of that stuff.
It's
well,
Um,
the comparison I would give you is Arthur Conan Doyle and Raymond Chandler.
yes.
Well, and Raymond Chandler was British.
Yeah.
However, he
He
was
wrote-
deliberately, yes,
Wrote American.
yes,
Yeah.
But that's when they're stylistically night and day.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Robert
Yeah.
D. Parker wrote Spencer series.
right.
Not the gritty we're looking for.
Yeah.
Spencer very urbane.
Yeah.
We're not.
No,
We're,
Lawrence Block, Matthew Scudder novels.
Yeah.
And
But
even
yeah,
and
homework
even
on that
those,
one.
yeah, there will be homework on that. Deej kind of took it and ran with it, which I was delighted about because he's such a historian on these things.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with that. But there's actually, because I'm a geek, I have multiple books on the history of detective stories. The American school is very different from the British school.
Diamond Runyon, Raymond Chandler, Mickey Spillane, yes.
Yep.
Dashiell Hammett.
And
Dashiell Hammett's another one.
Hammett, yes. Spillane, but more the non-Hammer books. Hammer is kind of his own thing. But yeah, the Continental Op. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. I mean, he's very American.
And we've wasted another hour of your time, folks.
Holy crap. We have.
Thursday may be interesting.
Well, we're early Thursday. People won't be here yet. So.
Yeah.
There may be people here Thursday. There may
Have
not.
you met this bunch? There will be people here.
Well, I may not be here.
Oh, that's right. You've got stuff on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm going to be lasered in the eyeballs at 9:30 on Thursday
So
morning.
We won't plan on you being here, but I can be here because I don't have a consistent schedule right now.
Okay, good. You got it. So Thursday we'll be at North Texas Troublemakers, not here.
And we'll do something. We'll figure something out.
Lord knows we'll do something.
But we do appreciate y'all hanging with us. And I don't know what to say about the cotton picking troubles with YouTube. I really don't.
This has been a thing for
Yeah.
the entire time we've done this.
Yeah.
It's us. I mean,
Yeah.
It could be
It hates
YouTube
us.
being YouTube or YouTube simply hating me and Jim.
Or Frank getting us.
Frank getting his curlies kinked.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll spun through.
RK, you will love having cataract surgery. Trust me. Things get bright real quickly. Remember, folks, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet sweaty stuff. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.